Okay, we're going to get this out of the way. First off, I have no ceiling. It's stuffed with insulation so that it's sound deadening, and I don't have a floor. It's a sealed concrete floor so that I can clean it. So as you come into my craft room down the stairs, the first thing you see is going to be my design wall for quilting. What I have up there right now is a Fons and Porter hanging design wall with a grid. I really like the grid, but it's not big enough. I need bigger. This is a quilt that I'm currently trying to sew together. I'm aggravated with my machine. So instead, I'm gonna film this craft room tour. Yay! Then as you come down the stairs, I have a manual pencil sharpener, because those are the best. It's just from Amazon, X-Acto, multi-use size pencil sharpener. Super handy. And then this is a 2x4 Kallax unit on casters. This is from IKEA, but of course we've manipulated it in many ways. I'm going to use it to store pre-cut fabric. So that's what's on there right now, but I think I'm going to rearrange it a bit to my liking. I'm just using the same bins that Jennifer McGuire uses to store stamps, but to store fat quarters and charm packs and mini charms. And also the patterns fit in there as well, but I have them in my stamp storage boxes. The dragons, also from IKEA. And then I had Tim build me these shelves. I need to touch up some paint, but he's not done over here. So I'm gonna let him finish making a mess before I finish painting. There is a lot that actually needs to be painted down here. None of the trim or doors are painted. I know, I need to get on it. That is a huge scissor, it's plastic scissors from the Halloween store. That is my pinnies, pin cushions that I've currently made. That is a Longaberger basket that I've painted that is currently storing patterns. And then I have two Longaberger cake baskets. And then these are actually I had Tim make these for holding my stamps and stuff while I was creating. But I'm gonna make him widen these strips so that I could hold my rulers in there. And then these are my colored pencils. They are stored together by like kind, and I can take these out and take them to my work surface or wherever I'm coloring, or if I'm filming over in the studio. And so all of my pencils are in here. In fact, I have Inktense pencils, and Faber-Castell chalk pencils, polychromos, and Prismacolor are all in here, stored together. I was keeping a die cutting machine right here, but I think I'm gonna make him put a top on it. So this is gonna move. The die cutting machine was here with the plates right here, which is super handy, but I think I'm gonna rearrange this area. I have my scoreboard hanging on the side here. As we get to this 5x5 Kallax unit that is holding on by the very faintest of strings. We've moved this and manipulated this not wood piece of furniture so much that it's here until it's gone. So, but this is my 5x5 Kallax unit. It has baskets, boxes from IKEA, drawers from IKEA. These are drawers that Tim made. We have a video for that on YouTube. These are Stampin' Storage inserts and IKEA inserts, as well as a hutch that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace. And I don't remember where it was. I don't know what brand it is. But I guess we can look inside. There is random stuff in here. Like, this is things that I don't want to throw away, but I don't really have a use for right now. Extra knobs and pulls, extra curtain things. Like, I don't use these, but I used to. This is glass and candles, you know, because I want to make my own candles, and I also use them to store things. This is other things that I want to alter or use in crafting, like these. They're going to be handy for something, you know? My hoarding. This is excess school supplies. And then this is some VHS tapes from a long time ago. I don't have a VHS player, and some old photos. Okay, up here, a lot of these might be empty. This is stamping accessories, I guess. Extra things for my Misty, creative corners, extra blades, stamp-a-ma-jig, stamping press. These are also extra things like when I refill my Copic markers. Those are little tiny funnels. Tiny funnels. These are blades for my paper trimmer. And rulers, because my kid goes through rulers like you wouldn't believe. We did that one. These are ink stands and ink daubers for pigment and dye inks, and these are my distress ink daubers. Then I have ink blending tools. These are in ice cube trays, and I don't have one for every color. This is adhesive. Extra foam squares that I love. Foam tape or tear tape, liquid adhesive, tape runner adhesive, more tape runner adhesive, glue pads, other adhesives. This is this is an old insert for Project Life cards that fits perfect in this drawer, but I don't have very many Project Life cards. These are pop-up things. I usually give these away, but they are super handy to have. They're made for beads, but they also work for sequins. This is foiling for the silhouette machine. This is toner foiling. You can't get those drawers mixed up. And then this is a Lori Holt design board that I made out of poster board and batting. And then you get to this row of stamp storage. So these are all mixed up, but like alphabets and large 6x8 stamps. I need to get Tim to move this bar back here so that there's more room for these 6x8 stamps. Then these are also kind of mixed up. These are more like scrapbooking stamps or things that I want to use on scrapbooking pages, and that's why they're in here. And then here is starts companies. So this is brand new from last month, Gina K. And then Spellbinders, we got some Stamp Market, and then this is my favorite things. So I have like all my favorite things. They're sorted by size and then by type. These are, I think these, you can get these from the Stamp Market or scrapbook.com, I'm not sure, but they're just thick, like label dividers. I think they come in colors too. I like the white ones. Then we have IKEA dividers, which they don't actually fit really good, but I guess it gives you another space to like store stuff in between here. I do. These are magnets. These are card sleeves, so when I finish a card, I can put it in a sleeve to protect it because I'm messy. These are all labeled. These are 3x8 page protectors. These are actually new 4x8 for the Life Crafted albums from Citrus Twist. These are 6x8 for the 6-hole. These are accessories from Felicity Jane. These are acetate pop-ins I think I have 2 from Felicity Jane and another one from another company. And then these are empty. This is snap-ins for pictures, for scrapbooking. And then these are new from Simple Stories. It's a different type of page protector that I just got to try out to make a recipe book. Then I have my favorite Pilot friction pens that are erasable. I use them a lot for marking fabric. These are Copic markers that are alcohol inks. And then my refills. I need to start buying refills, guys. I know, it's so sad. These are my ink cubes. Those are Ulta New. We've got Room to Grow, Distress Ink. Gina K is in here. These are Allie Edwards. I love pigment inks. And then, oh, these are some chalk inks. Up here are kind of like odd papers and accessories. There are like acetate sheets, tracing paper, watercolor paper, fuse paper, alcohol marker paper. My silhouette mats fit nicely in here. Construction paper for I can't think, stencils and whatnot. I also use white construction paper for the backing of my stamp storage. So that's all kind of in there. There is dividers and like a way to label things, but it's not labeled. And then I have ink storage. These are my Distress Ink oxides. These are my favorite to play with. I also have a few other pigment inks here. And then a lot of the regular inks like VersaFine, Claire, Nocturne. I have Gina K Watermark and like alcohol marker inks and whatnot that I reach for all the time. That is something I pulled down that has my Felicity Jane. I'll pull it down. So this is a totally Tiffany thing. I'm terrible. And they are, you can kind of make your own divided slots. So here are some scrapbooking fun things. I get the Felicity Jane kits. I subscribe to their kits, so that's why these are in here. Some Mickey, some pre-cut cardstock, and then these are 3x4 scrapbooking cards. These are just sentiments, or I guess like phrases and whatnot, different die cuts and shapes and enamel dots. These are all stamps from the kits and different stickers from the kits that I keep all together. And then when I'm scrapbooking, I can just pull it down and play with it. Up here in this hutch, that is a drawer. It has pictures in it, but I don't ever reach for it. So there's also foam, craft foam, and really cheap cardstock that I use for the gel plates. Gel plate. This is for taking photos. It's just aluminum foil on some poster board. And then that's my color reference book. It's just a book with all of my swatch charts and Copic marker charts and Prismacolor charts. These are alphabets. That's what's in here. Different alphabets. I'm looking for a different way to store these. It's not very convenient to do this. So I'm thinking of a way to combine them all, maybe. I don't know. And that's ink swatches. These are dies. Like nested dies. These are all stencils, including the larger one, and then my Memory Misty. This table is a pure work of art, okay? My husband made this for me. It is absolutely beautiful. I love it so much. I love working at it. I love looking at it. It's beautiful. It brings me so much joy. But I don't think it's going to be able to leave this room. So if we move, it is going to be a real trial to get this thing out of here. It was built in here and it's a big one. So we'll see. But I've outfitted it with some hooks on here to hold my, this is a compost bin I use it for trash. And it's not like regular trash, it's like fabric and paper. I usually pull the paper out, and I'll show you what I do with that in a minute. That's my heat tool, and then that is the end of this extension cord that is on the ceiling. So it goes down the ceiling and down the table and gives me power on this end of the table. But I love it. I have a metal, it's like an oil pan under here that has some storage of things that I reach for often. And then this is another tray that I like to put die cuts in that I'm using at the time. And then we have my Alex, my lonely gray Alex. I wanted to buy more of these, but they don't make them anymore, unfortunately. I've also put magnets on the end of these. They're literally just sticking on here, so I can hold my rags on there. But here is the Alex drawer. These are the dragon boxes. These are the lids to the dragon boxes, and they fit nicely in here. I do have a piece of wood back there in that wasted space, kind of holding them all up front so they don't move. But I just put embellishments in here. This is like my embellishment center. So there's enamel dots and tags and trinkets for scrapbooking, some washi tape that came in the Felicity Jane kits, some more. Okay, so these are brads and eyelets, and these are things like bows and tassels and eyeballs and all kinds of things that are all kind of in these plastic cases. These are my easy lights that I can reach for, and action wobbles. Sequins! So all of my sequins are in these little cases that I get from Amazon, and I just put a kind of a label on there that tells me what they are, so I can tell you guys where they came from. Some of them I don't know. Bad labeling. That was my fault. I'm sorry. Here's more. These are not sequins. These are like clay pieces and bubbles and pom-poms and things that are not sequins. These are where my Felicity Jane die cut pieces live after I open them and start rummaging through them, and then to keep them together per the kit, I'm going to start putting them into these cases. These were like $1 at Hobby Lobby. So, and you can stack them 2 high, maybe even 3 high in here, I'm not sure. And then there's room to grow. My favorite thing about my table is this engraving that Tim did of like a wood log, the end of a log, and it says T&K. Aww. So I don't like to bend down, but there's my waters that I should be drinking. Some homeschool books that I use with Dexter, my fan that I use for drying things over here. And then those are walnut shells for my pincushions, and that is vinyl for the silhouette. And then I have these drawers. They're also from IKEA. And I have all of my messy mediums in here. So there's like gel pastes and pastillage paste and whatnot in there. These are watercolors, watercolor tubes, watercolor pans, watercolor brushes, my Gonzai Tombies, everything watercolor-ish. In here, more watercolors. This is gouache, liquid watercolors, watercolor palette, and those are, what are these called? Gelatos. And then in here are alcohol inks. These are messy. Alcohol inks and gilding flakes and some alcohol ink paper are all in here. I typically have my paper trimmer up here, but because I've been making this quilt, I put it just down here. I usually have this white tray up here and my paper trimmer sitting on top this table right here. But I needed to put it away so that I could have some space. This is a huge butcher's tray that I like to use when I'm watercoloring because you can use it as a huge palette and leave it like that. But I haven't used it in a while. And you can kind of see underneath. Up top, I have my Oliso mini iron that's sitting on a trivet. It just sits there and stays on so that I can iron things. I'm using this as a tailor's clapper. I know that it's not the best, but it's what I have. This is a wool mat for pressing, and then I have a few of sewing supplies, little snips. I have been using this to push out my corners, which actually works really well. And then cutting and I don't even know. Trimmings? Yeah. And pin cushions that I made. Those are my remote controls. I have another of those dividers that has it has my most used papers cut into manageable sizes right here so that I can just reach for them. They need to be refilled quite terribly. There's adhesive. I want to use these to make a project, so they're sitting there. These are some brand new, to me, traveler's notebooks that I want to start using to document things. This was a card Dexter made, so I keep it here so it makes me smile. And then there's fog cardstock. And then this is my Lazy Susan. It has stuff. My son Hayden made this in elementary school. He's now 17, but I use it to keep trinkets and stuff in. These were all candles at one time that I burned and reused their canisters. This is a little skull from Twiddler's Nook. And then my adhesives, I keep Scotch tape, purple tape, and my tape runner with some clippers right here. Very handy. There's my unicorn. This one was made by Dexter in preschool, so I use it to keep some die cuts, and there's alphabets in there. And Deadpool. And then this is the Craft Cast mug that I send to all my people that are on the Craft Cast as a thank you. I send them this really cheap mug for fun. You can throw it away. Everyone that is listening, throw it away. And then just my most used tools and a huge bottle of hand sanitizer that I use to clean my hands and to clean paint and to clean things. And I usually have that and many others. This is a huge 24 by 36 Creative Grids mat that I've been using to cut this quilt. So that's why it's out. My glass mat is, I put that in the storage room that's in there. But I asked him to move it for me so that I could cut straight. Or try to cut straight. I don't know if I did. We'll see. So this is what my table looks like 90% of the time. This is my larger glass mat with my Spellbinders kind of craft mat. It's a self-healing mat on one side, and then on the other side it's like a foam piercing mat. It's really handy. It's also magnetic on the top, so it holds your dies at the top there. So this is my tower of projects. So if it is an active project that I'm working on, it is in this tower. And Dexter. So like, this is Dexter's dinosaur that he's sewing together. He gets the bottom. And these are some drying trays. That's a unboxing video that's about to be filmed. And then this is a, sorry, I had to sneeze. This is a mug rug that I'm making. These are treat bags, Halloween treat bags. This is the Noel quilt. This is a different quilt that I'm making. This is a pin cushion. These are great little stackable trays. They're also from Interdesign or iDesign. And then these are from Iris. These are Iris bins. So I have giveaway stuff in there. That's the recipe binder that I'm working on, and so on. These are all projects, current projects. Across from the table, you'll see this cord here. That's because I want a switch back here. We're trying to make that happen. But I have my silhouette and my laminator and my brother Scan and Cut all on this cart that is already plugged in and ready to go for me. So I can just turn them on and pull them out and turn them on, basically. And then put them away when I'm done. And then I have this pegboard that I'm still kind of playing with to see how I like to arrange it. But it's super handy to keep things that I reach for that aren't necessarily best in my little Lazy Susan. So there's adhesives and cleaners and tools. These are blades for the silhouette and the Scan and Cut. And you can usually get this stuff at the hardware store. In this storage room, I do have a Singer sewing machine. There's my Dremel right now. And this is where I take my photos, and I do store stuff to take my photos and little excess things for events and whatnot. But if you want to see this in more detail, you can look on my Instagram, and I have some photo tips and tricks for taking your photos, and I go through like kind of my process on my Instagram highlights. I also keep my Christmas cart in my storage room. This just has Christmas items on it. Christmas paper, Christmas stickers, Christmas things that I plan on using at Christmas time. Just different Christmassy type elements for Christmas. This area, I have a little bit of a letter board that I don't ever change because I really don't look at it. And then my collection of blender brushes of different kinds. These are my favorite. I have some for pigment inks and some for dye inks. And then this is kind of where my stamps go before I put them away in their little pockets. So this is how lazy I am. I have like a pre-staging area before they get put in pockets, and I'm really behind. So this is like a lot of product that has come in that I've been using. And these are also my 6x6 stamps and my 6x6 background papers and whatnot, but also, you know, my laziness. This is currently my arch nemesis, my Singer Heavy Duty, which I originally purchased to sew on cards. And it does that beautifully. It sews on cards beautifully. Next to it, I have all of these Longaberger items that I've collected over the years and more thread. Yeah, that's what you get when you try to quilt with a Singer Heavy Duty. So don't do that. I have some notions and thread and more notions and empty canisters and a wonderful nest of cords back there. It's awesome. And then I also have one more light here that I like to use, and that's a smaller design board for my pennies. And then we have my more notions. I got this storage idea from Lisa Soares at Lisa Soares on Instagram. She organizes her scrapbook supplies with this system, and I decided to do it for my sewing stuff. So I just have it's somewhat organized. It's not labeled yet because it's not permanent. Like I'm still tooling with it. Does that make sense? But I have magnetic liners in there for my pins so that they can kind of not wiggle around. And then I have some bobbin boats and bobbin organizers that really help me keep things straight. And then this is embroidery floss, and I have room to grow, as you can see. I think I want to move this shelf over where the fabric, the pre-cut fabric is, so that I can store books here and manuals. And then in here are some, they call those UFOs, unidentified works in progress. I don't know. Anyway, they're things that I'm kind of making, and then these are scraps of stuff, and white and black and larger spools, larger bolts, mini bolts of fabric. And then down here, these are drawers that I actually have to move. I'm not going to move them. I'm just going to buy new drawers. These were over with when my computer was here. These were what I needed to reach for. So they need to move. They need to be relocated. But they have, like, this is one of my gloves for drawing on my tablet. That doesn't belong over here. That belongs over by my computer. And then these are like envelope openers and erasers and, you know, stuff that doesn't go with the sewing machine. And then this is the same. It's like extra pens and post-its and stuff. And more post-its underneath. So, again, stuff that's supposed to go with my computer. And this is a tech drawer. I just kind of shove things in there and then close it up. Like that. And then this is my fidget spinner, oil slick fidget spinner. This is like refills on my favorite pens and pencils. I keep all of the stuff in here. Tiny attacher. This is my, this was my little notebook that I kept in my scrub pocket when I was seeing patients every day. So I could take notes for charts and stuff, for charting. So that's why that's there, in case I ever go back to work. And then these are business cards, batting, more batting, fusible fleece, more batting. And these are those comic book boards that everyone on YouTube is using to store their mini bolts of fabric. So that's what gets used. And then these are embroidery hoops and embroidery fabric. When I make my own embroidery designs by hand, like that ever happens. I've been filming so long the lights changed. It's okay. I have this table in the middle of my craft room on the green grass so that we can do activities. Mostly my son does homeschool there, but we also eat there. I eat my lunch there a lot and watch TV. It's really a great place, and it has this really pretty light that needs to be cleaned above it. This is probably one of the coolest things I've gotten all year. I have two of them. Okay, it's just a Yeti bucket, okay, on wheels. But I take it off to use as a step stool. I can take it off the wheels, right? That has my towels in it that are dirty, so I can take them upstairs, throw them in the wash. Dexter plays on it. I sit on it. It is a very handy craft room tool. I would highly recommend it. Plus, it's a Yeti. I could fill that thing with ice and have a party. This is my trash can. I love it. I had it upstairs. I would totally buy it again. It's not a cheap trash can, but it is absolutely wonderful. Trash is in the top, and then you can set up the bottom to be either compost or recycling. I use it to hold cleaning products. But yeah, it's awesome, awesome trash can. And then I have a bar area down here. It's unfinished. Like most things in my craft room, it's not finished. But I have big plans to put a small microwave in there. Not sure. And then my sink that I have the sink It goes right there where that coffee is. Tim has to do it. So I have a little refrigerator that we got from a friend that keeps all my beverages and my lunch cool. And then I have Lara bars. This keeps me alive. Okay? Cherry pie Lara bars keep me alive. And tea, and sugar and honey, and more tea and honey and tea. And then I have towels. So tea and towels. These are all microfiber towels that I use. I don't really use a lot of paper towels anymore, so I have all reusable towels. And then this is my little glass palette collection here. Palettes and brush cleaners and whatnot. And then the bottom is just kind of where I stick things that I'm either trying to hide from my kids or, I don't know, I don't have anywhere else to put it. Cocktail mix, oodles of noodles. Sometimes I need a high dose of salt really quickly, so that works. And then, you know, plastic stuff that I hide. So on top is a little drying mat that I've chemical burned. That's why it sits up like that. So be careful what you put on your plastic mat. It was brush cleaner or some kind of thinner that made it warp like that. This is my tea kettle. I love it. It's remote controlled by my phone, so I can start it upstairs, and by the time I come down here I will have tea. That's a Darth Vader mug that I got from Disney World from the dessert party. More Disney bowls. That's supposed to have granny candy in it that is empty. Travesty. This is a Boone dryer. This is where my sink is supposed to go. Right here. It's not there yet. That is a paper towel rack that I've been hanging regular towels on. It works for both. This is a brush cleaner rack that, ooh, it kind of looks like those old hair curlers. Okay? Let me see if I can, it's probably not going to focus on it. But it has these old, like, hair curler things. And you stick your brush in there, like this, and it holds it. And it lets it drip down onto the drying rack. So it's pretty cool. And then those are Longaberger mason jars that I turned into my water, my clean and dirty water containers. That's some money that I'm hiding from Dexter. And some mugs. And more mugs and things. And tissues and water, my water supply. And snacks. And more cocktails. So I am supposed to have a bathroom in here. There is a rough-in for a bathroom, but that's all it is. It's just a rough-in for a bathroom. The bathroom needs to be finished so that I can have a potty down here, which would stop me from having to walk all the way upstairs. Some things I just say so that Tim can hear it. This is my son Hayden's nightlight from when he was a child. He doesn't use it anymore. Wedding photos, memorabilia, that's my money bin. There's cards that people sent me in those too. And then that's Funny Steve, my craft room droid. I made him at Disney World. This is underneath my desk. This is what holds up the other end of my desk, and it is my cardstock. It is stored in either job ticket holders or the new plastic sheets that I found that I don't have to trim. So some of them are job ticket holders and some of them are just laminated plastic sheets. Doesn't matter, it all works the same, and I keep my scraps and full pieces of cardstock in there all together so that when I reach for this color, I'm going to use the scraps first and then whatever color that I'm grabbing for. But that's all of my cardstock. Down here is 12 by 12. So I have 12 by 12 kits and 12 by 12 collections, and just also 12 by 12 sheets that I've purchased for certain projects. This is empty. Room to grow. Look at that. Empty. In here is glitter cardstock, pattern paper, glossy cardstock. Any kind of cardstock that's not typical is in here. Like glittery patterns and stuff. So I have these glass memory boards. I don't know what their names are. I've had them for a long time, but they're also from IKEA. And then this is my computer workspace area. So here I have a Huion tablet. I mostly use that to edit photos, but it's supposed to be used for drawing. I've tried to draw with it. I like using the iPad a little bit better. These are things that need to go in the mail. And then this is where I organize all my data cards and whatnot. And I have another excess monitor over here that I usually keep my calendar on. And then that's our VoIP phone for the house. And my planner. I also keep a monthly desk calendar so that I can have it in front of my face all the time. And then that is my Samson Q2U microphone. That is really good for voiceovers. And then I have desky type stuff over here. These are yearbooks from when, those are Tim's yearbooks. I don't have mine, they were lost. And then these are files for the family. Different books that I use for videos. This is brush script practice, and then some other types of planning and notebooks that I keep around. And then these are all photo paper, labels, laminating paper, labels, things like that. Those are all storage pockets of different sizes for stamps. And then that is magnetic sheets and chipboard. These are all pens. That's my label maker and whatnot bowls. That is actually empty because the drawers need to come over here. I'm not going to replace these. I'm just going to replace these with drawers. But these are empty right now. And then down here, I don't know, more pens. Yeah, I have a pen issue. And then these are plastic baggies. I also have a bag issue. Yeah. Shh. And look at that. My husband put this together wrong. I don't care. I also have this chair from my old craft room sits here. No one ever really sits in it. Maybe Dexter sometimes, but that is a map of Disney World the year I was born, and Tana gave that to me on our Disney trip. So I want to frame it, but I have it, so it's just kind of sticking on the wall, all hillbilly style like that, but it brings me joy to look at it. And then that's a poster to a friend's book that I still haven't read. This is Tino Kopic. That is my daughter. That's Tino Kopic. This is another artist on Instagram, and she takes old Goodwill style pictures, paintings, and redoes them. And if you look, if you can see without the glare, there's a Jeep, a Jurassic Park Jeep, which is like mine, and some dinosaurs in there. And then that is a old cartoon. I don't even know what you would call it. I guess like drawing. It's called Company Picnic. And then we have that I got from the Jersey Shore shop where they all worked. It says Pasadena because that's where I'm from. And then a card that I made. That is a little piece of metal that my brother made. He's a welder. That is something Olivia made with the silhouette of me and Tim. Then there's a Build-A-Bear that Tim gave me, and a Bob Ross. I can't remember which family member gave that to me. I don't know. Someone I love. And then that is a ceramic paper hat. And those are orchids that I made. So it's kind of filled with like random stuff. This is like the sand from our wedding that we add to. This is just trinkets that that reminds me of my daughter. This is from Olivia, you know, like the F-bomb. It's just like things, cards that were recently sent to me, things that were made for me, paintings that were made for me. And then that's an old, well, it's actually a new old Atari. Dexter stole one of my controllers already. Yeah. My Switch actually goes here, and my controllers. So this dresser used to be part of the set that's in our bedroom, and I didn't want to use it, so we brought it down here. And my daughter started to paint it for me. So she's not finished, but she just comes down here when she loves me and works on it. I guess that's few and far between for teenagers, but that's where it came from. And then my printers sit on top of it, as well as my TV hangs above it. So we did glitter that wall. I wouldn't recommend it for anyone. It has since yellowed, the products that we used, so I wouldn't recommend them to anyone, but I do love that it's super shiny, but I don't love that it yellowed. So but I do have 3 printers. That's kind of ridiculous, right? This is a crafting printer that prints in color, and it prints up to 11 by 17. Not 11 by 17, 12 by 12. This one is a monochromatic toner printer so that I can foil. And then this is a small PictureMate printer that really is an awesome printer for scrapbooking. So, this was recommended to me from Kathy Zilski. So I bought it on her recommendation and love it. So, and then this was recommended to me from Damask Love. She also does Yay Day paper. So I figure she knows what she's talking about when it comes to printing in color. So let's go through the drawers. This is big paper for the printer. This is copy paper for the printers. This is photo paper. This is matte photo paper for printing designs, like photo designs. Not really so much photos. I usually use a glossier photo, but that's matte. For like printing things from Canva and whatnot. This drawer is all things that can be used in crafting. Boxes, bags, coasters, pillow boxes, whatever this stuff is. You know, crafting accessories. These are, I need one of these for this. Hopefully that fits. These are more books from homeschooling books for Dexter. These are cards that I've made. I have 2 rows of that, and these are other not cards, like tags and boxes. And then people come here and take what they want. These are labels. This is what I store my cardstock in. Those are note cards and labels and envelopes. This is tissue paper for wrapping presents. For wrapping all of the presents. This is where I keep all of my filming and cables and extra thingamabobs. The G7X that I'm using to film with right now goes in here, along with anytime I have something that I use for my phone that kind of goes in here too. These are clips and clamps when I hang blankets for sound deadening, or anything type for a background, I use these clamps. These are cables for my Canons and a microphone, a Rode microphone in there. These are my two Canons that I like to take still photography and video with. This is what I used before I got the Blackmagic. And this is my collection of lenses. Some of these are going to go. This is my favorite. That's the 50mm. I use this one a lot. This one is kind of crappy, but I still get to use it. This one is broken, needs to go away. It's actually cheaper to buy a new one than it is to get this one fixed. And then this is a cinema lens that I hate that needs to go away. And some more cables, because this takes an incredible amount of cables to do this job. And that's an extra microphone. There's actually 2 extra microphones in there. Tim likes to throw things on top of here. Like, what is this? Okay. And then some lighting and focusing cards that I use. I don't ever use the clapper, really. It's supposed to help me. I don't use it. And then this cart has more crap. I need a slat wall. I need a slat wall so that I can hang the tripods and everything. I need a slat wall. I currently film with a Blackmagic 4K cinema camera with a 25mm lens in my front-facing camera that is hung by a Manfrotto ball head mount and a rig that my husband made. So, and then it's got a safety strap just in case, but it does not touch the floor anymore. These are mostly empty. They do have some felt scraps in there. I think there's one with wood stamps in one and some roving wool, but nothing major. And then there's my felt that I do like to use on both sewing projects and card projects. And my collection of brushes and miscellaneous tools that I reach for, especially when Dexter is painting, because, you know, I don't want him to use my good watercolor brushes. And then those are some older scrapbooks, and those are actually, that's felt from Benzie Design. I keep all of my Benzie felt flat as it comes to me, and that way I don't have to worry about the roll, but it's not a big deal. This Yeti actually has paper in it that I want to turn into recycled paper. So this is my collection of paper that is going to be recycled, and anytime I have paper trash, it goes in here to be recycled into more paper. My down facing is also a Blackmagic 4K cinema camera, but this one has a speed booster by Metabones and a Nikon, what do I have up here, 70? Nikon 18-70 is what is being used to film the down facing. I really should have lens caps on these. Tim's gonna freak out. I also have a Rode microphone that is mounted off of the side of the rig so that it's just always there. It is connected to the front facing camera, which your voice is coming from, and so I don't have to line up the audio. I have a TV element, just a cheap Element HD TV hanging for my monitor, and 4 cheap Amazon lights that I replaced all the light bulbs with Adorama white light bulbs. So they do have more expensive light bulbs in them, but the boxes themselves are cheap. I would say that I would like to get a little bit more expensive light boxes because I think that they burn through the lights a little bit faster than they should, the light bulbs. I have a mount for my laptop that is loaded with dust. Ew, that's gross. And my ATM Mini Pro switcher that I use sometimes. Sometimes I don't. And underneath my work table is just this Tonic guillotine trimmer that I like to use on heavy duty trimming. And then this is all empty right here. Empty boxes, and then my Wagner heat tool. On this end of the table, I do have an extension that I can pull out when I need more space. And I did mount another trash can over here so that I could have more trash that I pick through and sort through. This is my natural light. This is my view out the window. Hey, look. I think that's a power washer. So, could be better. Could have the beach view. On this cart, I keep my Misties. I keep my Tombow markers, alcohol markers, and dual brush water-based markers. And then I also keep some embossing powders and adhesives and some of my favorite supplies and coloring items, things that I use when I'm making videos and coloring. So this behind my cart is an old glass door. I wonder if you can see me. It's probably not clean enough. This cart is my most used crafting for card making stuff that I wheel over here when I'm filming. But behind it is a glass door that I use for taking notes, especially for lives. I can put what I want to say up here, and then I can just look over at the notes. But I gotta make sure I write the notes. So it's there, I just have to use it. On this side is my metal wall that I absolutely love. I love having this around. These accessories all came from either Office Depot or Amazon. These are Harbor Freight. These used to be pink and blue. Well, they were red originally, and then now they're black. So I can paint them to go with whatever motif I'm looking for. And then some paper towels that don't really get used, and some things that I use for filming. And then these are some new letters that I just bought. They're really cool. They're from the Typeset company, and they're camo. Isn't that cool? They also have these really cool helping rulers to help you with your lettering. So I just got that as a toy for myself. I also have some pictures of family up there. Sometimes I put artwork from my kids up there. Just stuff. And I also need a light, an electric socket face. My husband is so awesome that he built me this background. I hated the background that I had before in my videos because it was off center and it wasn't functional. It was not as functional as I wanted it to be. So he fixed that for me, and it's absolutely beautiful. I told him kind of what I wanted, and then he just ran with it. We were originally supposed to put the Alex drawers over here, so that's why it's a little bit awkward in the bottom, but I think it worked out. It actually worked out for the better. So we can take a look inside. Up here I have some more Russell and Hazel albums. That's the gold one is my wedding planner album. This gray one houses a Disney trip that I planned. And then there's twine and washi tape and ribbon up there. This, believe, was made by my good friend Judy. Jude, she's Hey Jude Cards on Instagram. She also does Beachbody. She's super inspiring, so I would recommend you check her out. And then this is embossing folders in 2 different sizes, and they live in there. I can get it down for you. These are by Spellbinders, and they just hold all of my embossing folders. These are 3D embossing folders, and these are like full-size embossing folders, and so they go right in there. And they also have fun tassels and stuff that you can hang off of them. And then that's a smaller one with smaller embossing folders. And then these are my two die cutting machines. That's the Platinum, the big one, and then this is the Platinum 6. These are my most used dies that I like to reach for. And some tools. And a gold unicorn with some Ray Dunn. This is my favorite Glassboard. This is by Glassboard Studio. This is the 18 by 24. I also have the 24 by 36 that is currently living in my storage room because I was cutting fabric. And this is my paper trimmer that I have two of. And then this is my, I guess they're like extra. There's like glitter in here, some fragments. This is flock, pop seeds, some re-inkers, H2Os, color bursts, stickles, re-inkers, paint, stuff like that. It really gets really dusty. I need to pay more attention to it, but that's also from Harbor Freight. In here, are you ready? Yeah, I didn't think you were ready for that. This is my collection of Catherine Pooler inks. I try to do the minis because I'm a cheap ass and I also want to have room for everything. So I buy the minis first and then I buy the ink pads. And then sometimes they get sent to me as full-size ink pads, so that's why there's both. So that's my collection of Catherine Pooler inks and ink stands. It's very pretty. And then here is my embossing folder, or embossing powders, sorry. These are other inks, other dye inks that I don't reach for as much, but I like to keep around for things. I use them, like this is a great ink. This Slippery When Wet and the Over the Moon are beautiful for backgrounds, for scenes. So I reach for them a lot. And I just really like archival ink. I think archival ink is really good. And then these are tools that I don't always reach for, like my silence setter, hot glue gun. I like to use this fuse tool for certain things. These are We Are Memory Keepers punch boards. And my camo letters. This is my fan, and it is now on a switch. So I can turn it on if the fan is on. It's on a switch. So I can turn it off and on the switch. It's pretty cool. It has a electric socket back there. These are some newer scrapbooks that I've been working on, and those new ones from Simple Stories for the recipe binder. These are some glass boards and cutting mats. That's an area specifically for my cutting mats. And then that is a light board. There's also a plug down here and some extra room to grow. This is one of the coolest things in my craft room. Any guesses? It's a vacuum. So Tim made it so that all I have to do is flip this up and sweep my dust over here, and then it gets sucked up in the vacuum that's in the closet, and then I'm done. We'll just suck this up just for fun. Just for fun. We'll watch it get sucked up. That's pretty cool. And the switch is right there. So, I have cutting plates for my die cutting machines, and punches, and oh look, a big picture of my family. These are things that I need to frame, and there's a big space in here to leave them. And then this one sticks. It's sticky. He needs to fix that. And there's another die cutting machine that doesn't fit in my drawer. So what do you think of my craft room? This is my happy place. This is my all the things. I live down here. I teach down here. I work down here. It's not perfect, but that's kind of the fun, like making it mine. And it being the basement, I don't have to like abide by the same rules as the rest of the house. At least that's what I think. And so like there's no rules. I can do whatever I want, and it feels good. It feels good to be down here. I hope that everyone has a space in their home that they can do that. Just get away. Even if it's just the dining room, because once upon a time, that's the only space I had. And so I'm very lucky to have this. And I might not have it for the rest of my life. I don't know. You know, who knows what's going to happen. But for now, this is where I am. You'll find me in the basement, getting all pale and troll-like. I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at my dirty, dusty, super fun happy place. I will link to as much as I possibly can. If you have questions about something, please don't hesitate to message me. In fact, commenting on this video will help others and answer their questions of things that I missed, things that I didn't say, questions that people have. The comments are a great place to check and learn from and interact with other crafty people. Anyway, that's it.